It is a frustrating, even embarrassing sensation when you finish a meal and within minutes your stomach distends so much that you look 6 months pregnant. You haven't gained 10 pounds of fat in 20 minutes, so what is actually happening? Most people blame the bread, the pasta, or the salad they just ate, but the reality is that for the vast majority of you, this has almost nothing to do with the food itself and everything to do with a massive mechanical failure in your internal plumbing. Before we dive into the hidden trigger that is causing this physical expansion, do this right now. Type the word FLAT in the comments to lock in your commitment to fixing your gut. Hit the like button so this reach others suffering in silence, and subscribe to Metabolic Health Lab, because what I'm about to show you is the exact reason why your metabolism feels stuck and why no amount of dieting has fixed that bulge. You see, when your stomach balloons out like that, you are witnessing a literal fermentation explosion inside your torso. Imagine taking a jar of wet flour and sugar, adding yeast, and sealing the lid. Within hours, the gases produced by those microbes will create so much pressure the lid might fly off. That is exactly what is happening in your small intestine. But here is the part that most people, and even most doctors, completely miss. Those microbes shouldn't even be there in the first place. You have roughly 25 feet of small intestine where about 90% of your nutrient absorption happens. This area is supposed to be relatively quiet in terms of bacteria. The heavy lifting of fermentation is meant to happen much further down, in the large intestine. When the bacteria from your trash compactor at the end of the line migrate upward into the clean room of your small intestine, we call this SIBO, or small intestinal bacterial overgrowth. But why did they move? Why did the security system of your body allow these gas-producing organisms to set up shop in the wrong neighborhood? This brings us to the first major mechanical failure, the battery acid deficiency. Your stomach is designed to be one of the most acidic places on the planet. We are talking about a pH between 1 and 3. That is strong enough to dissolve a piece of iron. The primary purpose of this acid isn't just to break down your steak, it's to act as a chemical firewall. Every time you eat, you are swallowing bacteria, fungus, and yeast. If your stomach acid is strong, it incinerates those invaders on contact. But if your acid is weak, which happens as we age, or if we are stressed, or if we drink too much water with meals, those microbes survive the stomach trip and start colonizing the small intestine. If you've ever felt like your digestion just stops after a meal, drop a yes in the comments right now, because that is the first sign your acid firewall has crumbled. Now, once those microbes are in the small intestine, they are waiting for one thing: fuel. And their favorite fuel is fiber. This is why you might feel fine after eating a junk food meal like a burger without the bun, but you feel like you've swallowed a basketball after eating a big, healthy kale salad. The healthy fiber is literally feeding the overgrowth. It's a cruel irony. The healthier you try to eat, the more pregnant you look, but it gets even more serious than just gas. When these microbes ferment food in the small intestine, they produce hydrogen or methane gas. This gas doesn't just sit there, it creates pressure that pushes against your diaphragm, making it hard to take a deep breath. It can even push against your heart, causing palpitations that make you think you're having a cardiac event when you're actually just having a gut event. This pressure also has a backflow effect. Remember that valve at the top of your stomach? It's called the lower esophageal sphincter. It is a pressure-sensitive valve. It only stays tightly shut when the stomach is highly acidic. When your acid is weak, the valve stays loose. Then, the gas from the fermentation downstairs pushes the weak acid back up into your throat. This is why the vast majority of people with acid reflux actually have too little acid, not too much. They are taking antacids, which turn off the last bit of acid they have left, which makes the fermentation worse, which creates more gas, which pushes more non-acid juice into their throat. It is a vicious cycle that keeps you bloated and medicated for decades. If this is making sense to you, hit that like button, because understanding this reverse logic is the only way you're going to get your flat stomach back. But let's look deeper into the machinery, because the stomach acid is just the first domino. The second domino is your gallbladder and the production of bile. Bile is often thought of as just something that helps you digest fat, but it has a secret role. It is a natural disinfectant. Think of bile like the soap for your small intestine. It flows down from the liver and gallbladder and literally washes the lining of the small intestine, keeping the bacterial population in check. If your bile is sludgy, or if you don't have enough of it, the small intestine becomes a stagnant pond. And what happens to a stagnant pond? It grows algae and bacteria. This is why many people who look 6 months pregnant also have a dull ache under their right rib cage, or even pain in their right shoulder. That is your gallbladder screaming for help because the soap isn't flowing and the bacteria are taking over. What happens next is the part nobody talks about, and it involves the migrating motor complex, or the MMC. Think of the MMC as the intestinal broom. Every few hours, especially when you are not eating, your gut triggers a wave of electrical activity that sweeps through the intestines, pushing out leftover food and excess bacteria into the large intestine where they belong. However, this broom only works when you are in a fasted state. If you are a grazer, someone who snacks every 2 hours or has a little something before bed, you are effectively turning off the power to your internal broom. The sweep never happens. The bacteria stay put. They feast, they multiply, and they produce the gas that distends your abdomen. This is why intermittent fasting isn't just about weight loss. It's about giving your internal broom the time it needs to clean the house. If you want a video specifically on how to time your meals to fix your MMC, subscribe right now and hit the bell, because that is a masterclass in itself. You might be wondering, okay, Dr. Berg, how do I actually fix this today? We have to address the root, not the symptom. The first step is to stop feeding the fire. If you are currently in a state where you look 6 months pregnant after every meal, you need to temporarily reduce the FODMAPs and heavy fibers. I know we are told fiber is the holy grail of health, but if your house is on fire, you don't start bringing in more wood. You need to starve the overgrowth. For a period of 2 to 4 weeks, moving toward a more carnivore-adjacent diet, focusing on high-quality proteins and fats that are absorbed high up in the digestive tract, can starve those microbes out. This gives your small intestine a chance to breathe. The second step is to rebuild the firewall. This is where betaine hydrochloride comes in. By taking a natural acidifier before your meals, you are manually dropping the pH of your stomach. This does 3 things. It kills incoming microbes, it signals that valve at the top to slam shut, ending the reflux, and it triggers the release of your own digestive enzymes. Most people find that within just a few days of acidifying their stomach, the pregnancy bulge starts to deflate. You'll also want to look into purified bile salts, especially if you have that right-sided pressure I mentioned earlier. This ensures the soap is flowing and the small intestine stays clean. But here is a hidden trigger that almost everyone misses: stress. Your digestion is controlled by the autonomic nervous system. You have the sympathetic, fight or flight, and the parasympathetic, rest and digest. You cannot do both at the same time. If you are eating while scrolling through stressful news, or eating while driving, or eating while standing up and rushing, you are in sympathetic mode. In this mode, your body literally diverts blood flow away from your gut and into your muscles. It turns off acid production. It stops the gallbladder from contracting. You are essentially dumping food into a cold, stagnant engine. It doesn't matter how healthy the food is, it will sit there and rot. If you've been eating under stress, drop the word stress in the comments, because recognizing this habit is half the battle. What happens if you don't fix this? It isn't just about the bloating. When you have an overgrowth in the small intestine, those bacteria start competing with you for nutrients. They love B12, they love iron, and they love your minerals. This is why so many people with chronic bloating also have brain fog, chronic fatigue, and thinning hair. You are eating the food, but the uninvited guests are eating your vitamins. You are essentially starving while looking full. Furthermore, the constant pressure on your gut lining can lead to leaky gut, where microscopic holes allow undigested food particles into your bloodstream. This triggers your immune system, leading to systemic inflammation, joint pain, and even autoimmune issues. That bloated belly is actually a smoke signal for a much larger fire burning in your metabolic health. To truly transform this, you have to change your relationship with when you eat. Intermittent fasting is the ultimate reset for the SIBO patient. By extending the time between your last meal of the day and your first meal of the next day, you are allowing that intestinal broom we talked about to run multiple cycles. You are also giving your insulin levels a chance to drop. High insulin is a growth factor for the wrong kind of microbes. When you lower insulin, you create an environment that is hostile to overgrowth and friendly to your own metabolic machinery. Another secret weapon is apple cider vinegar. While it's not as strong as betaine hydrochloride, taking a tablespoon in a glass of water before you eat can help prime the pump. It's a simple, cheap hack that can significantly reduce the fermentation that happens post-meal. But remember, the goal isn't to stay on supplements forever. The goal is to fix the machinery so it works on its own. This means chewing your food until it's a liquid. Most of us gulp our food, leaving giant chunks that the stomach acid can't penetrate. This leaves a buffet for the bacteria downstairs. Digestion starts in the mouth with an enzyme called amylase. If you skip the chewing, you're putting an impossible load on an already struggling stomach. I want you to imagine a life where you can finish a dinner out with friends and walk away feeling light, energized, and flat-stomached. No more unbuttoning your pants under the table. No more hiding behind baggy sweaters. This is entirely possible, but it requires you to stop treating your stomach like a bag you just throw food into and start treating it like a precision-tuned engine. As we wrap this up, remember that your body is constantly sending you signals. That bloating is not a normal part of getting older. It is a loud, clear message that your internal environment is out of balance. By fixing your stomach acid, supporting your bile flow, giving your gut time to clean itself through fasting, and managing your eating environment, you can shut down the fermentation factory for good. If this video gave you that light bulb moment you've been looking for, please hit the like button. It really helps us reach more people who are struggling. Type health in the comments to show you're ready to take the next step. And if you haven't yet, subscribe to Metabolic Health Lab. We are dedicated to bringing you the root cause science that you won't find in the mainstream headlines. Your journey to a flat stomach and a high-energy life starts with understanding the machinery. Stop guessing, start fixing, and I'll see you in the next video to continue this metabolic transformation.